Hey, what's up guys? Casey Dimmer here, TaxSaleAcademy.com, and thank you so much for joining me on today's video. Today we're talking about saving money as a tax sale investor. Many people go into really any business, including tax sale investing, and the first thing they want to do is really pinch pennies and be as tight as possible from the very start. And I completely understand that. You need every single penny to go as far as possible for you as a business owner. It's all about minimizing expenses and maximizing revenue. I get it. It's certainly not rocket science, right? So in today's video, we're going to go over 3 of the best ways to make sure that you can save as much money as possible. Now, these aren't earth-shattering methods or anything like that, but I want you to really pay attention to these different strategies. If you let this sink in, I can promise you that you are going to save some money as a tax sale investor, both in the short term and the long term. The first one is knowledge. You must know what you're doing and what you're investing in. If there's a common denominator amongst every single bad investment that I have ever made in any industry, it's that I didn't completely understand what I was investing in. I invested because I thought it sounded cool, it sounded good, it sounded fun, because somebody suggested it, or because I didn't want to miss out. Those bad investments were not made because I diligently researched and understood what I was doing. Now, on a macro level, this means that you must understand the tax sale business. Every single state has slightly different laws, and every county might operate a little bit differently as well. You need to know all this information inside and out. And on a micro level, you must understand absolutely everything about the property that you're investing in. Now, this isn't a video about research or laws or anything like that, but understand that if you don't fully know what you're doing, you will lose money. And this isn't something that you hear about today and you start making millions tomorrow. Every single story that I've heard about somebody losing money in this business always boils down to their lack of knowledge. They didn't know what they were doing. If you want to avoid losing money, know what you're doing. Secondly, limit your risk. And this should almost go without saying, and maybe it's subconsciously for some new investors, they forced themselves into an investment that's lousy. It's just a bad investment. It might even be because they got bid happy, or they got emotionally connected to a piece of property, or they just felt like they had to purchase something because they're finally at their first auction. Another example is something that somebody has purchased that's way above their skill level. So if you're a beginner, for example, it's not the time to buy a piece of property where you have to buy it, rezone it, survey it, replat it, and develop it and sell it as individual lots before you can make any money. Obviously, that's above your skill level, guys. Stick to the easy, low-risk properties. And better yet, find the properties that you can essentially sell before you buy. We go over all this information inside the Academy. Find a way to invest with virtually no risk, which is absolutely possible. Once you do that, then move forward. If you want to avoid losing money, then avoid those risky properties. And the third one that I want to discuss is patience. And this is a big one. New investors get so impatient with the entire process. They want to go to one auction, buy one property for $1, flip it in one day, and make $1 million. So I'm exaggerating a little bit, guys, but let's be honest here. This is not a business for impatient people. If you need $1 million or $1,000 or $1 that comes out of this business in the next week, don't get in this business. This is not the business for you. This is a business that takes time. It is a long-term, sustainable, wealth-building business. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme, okay? For you folks that have already purchased real estate in some fashion, maybe it's just for personal stuff, you know that real estate, in general, is just a slow business, like painfully slow, especially when you start getting attorneys and mortgage companies involved. It goes from this person to that person, to the bottom of their stack, to the top of their stack, to the bottom of this person's stack, to the reviewer, to the processor, to the underwriter, to the broker, to the closer. All these people are involved, and nobody's moving fast. Nothing ever moves fast. And I think this will eventually change as technology progresses, but that's going to be a story for a completely separate video. My point here is that real estate, by nature, is a slow business. Investing can be even slower because you have to identify the property well ahead of all this process, okay? Guys, yes, I flipped properties so fast they would make your head spin. But that was after lots of experience and setting up all sorts of different aspects of my business to make that possible. And that's certainly not possible every single time. Generally speaking though, it will take you auction after auction, week after week, and maybe month after month before you get your first tax sale property that will be a success for you. Guys, I've had students before that have been in the academy for well over a year. They've been diligent. They've really taken the time to learn. And it took them over a year before they got their first property. The one I'm actually thinking about right now in specific, she researched properties. She went to auctions. She didn't do it full time. It was a part-time deal for her, but she did this for well over a year, probably 13, 14 months. And when the timing was right, when she came across the right property, she made close to 6 figures on her very first deal. I'm not saying this that you're going to make it. You probably won't make 6 figures or close to it on your first deal. She did in this specific situation. So don't think I'm trying to go out here and give you some sales pitch or anything. But what I'm trying to get at is it took her over a year before she got her first property. Keep that in mind. A year. That's a very long time. When she did, though, she struck it big. Now, it probably won't take you a year if you're diligent within the stuff. She was very, very, very patient. She was probably the most patient investor that I've ever had as a student. But the fact of the matter is, that patience paid off for her, and I promise you, it'll pay off for you as well. If you want to avoid losing money, then be patient. So notice here, I mentioned knowledge, risk, and patience. I didn't mention that you should do this or do that yourself. I didn't mention that you need to cut every single expense possible, that you should stop spending every single penny and should save everything. Because the fact is, if your goal right now by watching this video is to stop spending altogether, then you probably shouldn't be in this business. By being in this business, you must spend money. You have to spend money to make money as an investor. You need to save money through your investments, not through cutting out your required expenses to operate your tax sale business. There are so many new investors who want to perform the services of an attorney or save a realtor's commission or do this or do that or whatever. And in some situations, yes, that might be a good path for you. Not being an attorney, obviously, but maybe trying to sell it yourself. Yeah, that could be a good path. But what you need to understand is that a lot of times their efforts, those same efforts to save money, with forcing themselves to figure out a way to save money, might actually end up costing them much more money in the long run. I've had new, in quote, investors tell me before that they want to start investing in tax defaulted real estate. But unfortunately, the closest auction to them is an hour's drive away, and they have to attend that auction in person. And they just don't have the time, or they don't want to invest the money into doing that because they want to save money. That's absolutely absurd, guys. You have to spend time and money to make money in this business. Guys, I've driven over 3,000 miles round trip to attend auctions before. So to tell me you can't drive an hour to an auction just doesn't make any sense. So when you're looking at ways to save money in your business, instead of focusing on cutting costs, instead of forcing the issue on how you can cut costs, instead focus on making better investments. A tank of gas isn't that big of a deal when you compare it to buying a house that requires $100,000 worth of unexpected work. Be smart, make smart investments, and save money by being accurate and efficient in those investments, not by cutting those required costs. Guys, that's it for today. If you're looking to learn more about investing in tax defaulted real estate, including our in-depth trainings, and to get all the details and the strategies that we've learned over the past 16 plus years, head on over to TaxSaleAcademy.com. While you're there, be sure to pick up your copy of Tax Sale Playbook. The book itself is free. Just help us to cover the nominal shipping costs to get it from our warehouse to your front door. Again, that's TaxSaleAcademy.com. Guys, I'll see you over on the site. Take care. Bye-bye.